Washington mornings on the Mall. And AM 630.
8:07 on WMAL. Good Wednesday morning to you. Brian Neiman, Brian Wilson with you. Big debate tonight. First one between Mitt Romney and Barack Obama. Major Garrett, White House correspondent for the National Journal, is out in Colorado for the big debate tonight. Thanks for getting up bright and early. I know it's, 6 a.m. out there in Colorado.
Yes, good morning, guys. Good to be with you.
And I hear you're going to be up late tonight because you're doing some post-game stuff with CBS, too. Is that right?
That is correct. For all three presidential debates. I will sit out the vice presidential debate. Bummer about that, but I'll be there for the three presidentials.
That's cool.
That's very cool. All right, so what's the makeup? What's the debate going to look like tonight? I mean,
like they have been for years with the Presidential Bipartisan Commission in charge. Two candidates, President Obama, Governor.
Uh-oh, losing your phone. You there?
Will not ask for opening or closing statements, though I wouldn't be surprised at all, at least in Governor Romney's case, if he doesn't take the opportunity of answering the first question with something that would be generally regarded as an opening statement, a kind of a framing argument for what he intends to do with the debate.
All right.
You know what, Major? Can you call us back? We're having a little trouble.
We're going to hang up, and we'll try and reestablish a better line because you're breaking up. I thought for a second there it was more of like somebody call waiting type of deal thing.
Yeah,
It was just a bad connection.
Yeah, we'll give him a second to reconnect because we want to be able to. He's got a lot of stuff to talk about. There's so much going on right now. We got this stuff going on in Libya. Mm-hmm. Of course, this debate is about the economy. It'll be interesting to see whether foreign policy in Libya and all that gets sort of brought into the whole thing. Mm-hmm. But you got Libya, you've got some serious questions about the economy that it can be raised. You got all kinds of stuff that they're going to be talking about, and it'll be interesting to see, how you come out. Will it move the numbers? Is sort of the key question.
Well, yeah, and Major was talking about Can Romney pivot? Will he pivot? Should he pivot? Because this has been a debate apparently within the Romney campaign of whether or not he should go after the president on national security, even though the focus is supposed to be on the economy, and it will be mostly on the economy tonight. Will Mitt Romney take the chance and try and turn this and ask some foreign affairs questions, especially about the latest in Benghazi, and the news doesn't seem very good for the administration. Major's back with us. So do you think that, I know there's been some discussion within the Romney campaign of whether or not they should go after the president on foreign policy, especially what's going on with Libya. Have they come to a conclusion on that, or are we going to wait till tonight to see if he takes it up?
Well, I think they have come to a conclusion. What I don't think they've come to a conclusion on is the methodology. Clearly the governor has to bring it up. I mean, he's got to bring every part of his best critique of the president to this first debate. There is no point in leaving anything unasked or anything unanswered that doesn't pursue the indictment of this president and his record over 4 years. And foreign policy the last couple of months has gotten into it. But what the Romney campaign hasn't quite figured out yet is how to get the governor there without saying or acknowledging, if they choose not to, that he's had some stumbles of his own, because the president will fire right back on him if the governor doesn't in some way, shape, or form acknowledge that he's not an expert, he doesn't have all the intelligence, but there are questions he has. And I think in the case of Libya, it's a very simple process. Ask the president some direct questions.
All right,
and ask for some accountability.
Yeah, well, there are some direct questions to ask, given this letter that was sent by Darrell Issa yesterday. Okay, what about this video from 2007 of then Senator Obama on the campaign trail to black ministers? It's being touted by some as, if we had only known this in 2007, maybe the whole course of the campaign would have been different in the first round. Does it have any impact on the second round?
Look, my sense, and every communication I have with the Romney campaign tells me that they know to win this race, they have to talk about the disappointments of now and the promise of tomorrow. And reaching back to videos or anything that predates the president's election doesn't do them any good. It's wasted time, because the country made a decision in 2008, and that stands. The next decision is, what do you do about the next 4 years? So my guess is, and my sentiment, based on what the Romney campaign has told me, is they're going to focus on the disappointments of now and what Governor Romney will say is about the promise of the future if we change presidents. And it seems to me that's the frame they're going to try to pursue.
All right. I know National Journal, you had the numbers suggest, we have unemployment over 8%. You have an approval rating under 50%. It's never happened before where a president can win in that. Why is President Obama leading in the polls?
Well, we tried to tackle this question. It was my idea, because I said this is the central question of this campaign. Why are all the things that we used to know not true this time, or apparently not true this time? And we came to a couple of conclusions, and it's reinforced by our latest National Journal poll today that has the race of 47-47, by the way, that as a result of the global recession, even the dot-com bubble, the late 1990s, the accumulated traumas economically for the past 10 or 15 years, Americans have done two things. One, recalibrated their sense of expectations about what the American dream is and how rapidly they can achieve it, and importantly, how much a president can do to actually provide help to them in pursuing it. And number two, since the Great Recession, and this is the reason people remain optimistic even though economic news is bad, even though Washington hasn't done this, people have personally deleveraged, knocked down their credit if they can, gotten their mortgage, if possible, above water or closer than it was 3 years ago. They've taken care of their own financial backyard personally, and that gives them a greater sense of confidence about their own future, but they still remain dismayed about what they see in Washington and kind of hopeless about what Washington can do, if anything, to assist them in their personal lives. So one of the conclusions we came to is, oddly, this sense of kind of low-level hopelessness is actually benefiting the candidate of hope in 2008 more than the challenger.
Interesting. So the individuals took the responsibility to do the right thing with their own personal finances, but Washington didn't, and therefore they're more optimistic.
Right, and that's one of the reasons you see this strange relationship between economic data that really does not offer any great hopes for optimism in the next 12 months. A lot of economists are actually predicting, even if the fiscal cliff is sort of dealt with in some structural way, a recession, a global recession in 2013. There's no reason to be particularly optimistic, but in the last 2 or 3 months, people have become slightly more optimistic about their own economic future, and we conclude that one of the reasons, not the only reason, but they've taken a lot of stock of their own personal lives, not using home equity loans to buy things, but actually saving, knocking down their credit card debt, and just putting their own personal finances on a bit of more firm footing.
You know, a lot of people look at these debates and say, with so many people having made up their mind, they really may not have much impact. But I think you would agree with me that you still have those moments that can occur that can actually change things in a dramatic way. I mean, remember Al Gore sighing and invading George Bush's personal space at one point, and that wonderful moment in the Reagan debates when he just sort of, made a joke out of the criticisms about his age. I mean, these things can really change and turn the direction of the entire campaign.
These things can change, and I think the perception meter of this race is the thing that is most likely to change after this debate, because for the last 2 weeks, I imagine your listeners have brought this up to you in one way or another, text messages or call-ins. The meme of the media has been, well, basically this race is over. And I don't believe the race is over. The structural advantages for President Obama are real and unavoidable, and Romney needs to break out in a couple of swing states to change the perception. But the race isn't over, and it's going to tighten and get closer. And so if Romney has a very strong performance, or one that's perceived that way tonight, I think you'll begin to see stories saying, oh my gosh, the race has shifted. And I would say, no, the race hasn't shifted. The race is exactly where it's always been. You've shifted, meaning the media writ large, about your assessment of what's actually going on. So I think the perception game of where this race is and how likely the president is to win or not may be the thing that changes most after tonight if Romney puts in what's regarded as a strong performance.
All right, Major. Great to have you on. Thanks very much. We'll be watching you tonight after the debate. Thank you.
Good luck.
Thanks, guys.